Okay, a little video to go over deploying the Hellfire. We'll take a look at a couple of different modes in both the LOBL and the LOAL, lock on before launch and lock on after launch. So the lock on before launch is really pretty simple. First thing we want to do is arm, and then we're going to WAS the missiles. They are washed. We'll look at the modes. We want the shell, the normal, the trajectory. If that's direct, that's automatically going to assume low ball launch parameters. And so what that means now is that we'll just zoom in a little, not too much. And oh, I need to turn the TDEC on. Okay. And we've got a field of view box here, and then we've got this little box right here in the center of it, which shows us where our TADS is looking. And it's being controlled by me, the front seater, the CPG, co-pilot gunner. And so it's in manual mode, and I can move it around. And as long as this box is in solid lines, that means that the missiles can track a target that is designated by my laser designator here, this crosshairs. There's no laser spurting yet, but if I move that, keep moving it, then that box will go dashed. And when it does, that means if I squirt a target out here, that missile is not going to be able to adjust its heading in time to get that. So what I need to do then, if I want to shoot something over here, say for this, let's just zoom in a little more. See that building right there, a bunch of terrorists in that building. Then what I need to do is tell the pilot to adjust heading to the left. And I can bring up the George menu with left control V. And there's several modes on that. The commands for this by default are WASD. If I tap them, that switches the mode, and you can see in that solid box HB, combat, CMWS, and back to flight. If I press and hold, like if I press and hold 8, that's going to tell George to turn left until I let go. And you'll see how that works. See that little indicator there? I let go.
Turn left.
And now George is turning left. And my missile is now back in constraints. So I can squirt the laser, get the range. I get another constraints box. I'll go ahead and shoot. Missile away. I'll just keep tracking it. I can move it with a manual tracker if I want to hit a specific part of the building, or if it were a smaller building. Time of flight is at the bottom. 4, 3, 2, 1, impact. Boom. Terrorists are dead. Okay. Now that's direct. And what if if I want more arc in the missile, if I need to clear a hill, or it's further away, and if I want to shoot at several different targets and just launch missiles, or maybe I want to give them to another helicopter or ground crew or whatever, then I'm going to switch to lock on after launch. And so what I'll do is I'll change the trajectory here to low. And now you see that the constraints box went a solid dash. And what that's telling us actually is that the missile is fixed straight ahead. Now, does that mean I can't fire the missile? No, not necessarily. But I have no way of knowing if the missile is in constraints. So let's say, for example, I want to hit that tank. We're going to zoom in some more. We'll just switch to TV mode. And I can really zoom in further with TV mode. Now, can I still fire a missile? Well, let's see. Yes, the missile is away, and I can laser that target now, And if that missile sees that laser on that frequency, then it will track that. And so let's just see if it'll hit that tank. Okay, well, it did not. That missile is probably still flying up there somewhere. Obviously not on my target. And so the proper way, what this is intended to do is use a target stored in the database. And I haven't stored any targets in the database. If we look, you'll see that question 00 means nothing is stored. So let's say I want to store that target. I don't even have to laze it. I'll just hit store. And now you'll notice on the TSD over here, I've got another target. And if I want to select it, it should appear there. Oh, whoops. Okay, I have to select the waypoints. So if I select the coordinate and the waypoints, now this is actually that target. And so if I select it here, it puts it over here, and the constraints system is automatically tied to the last selected waypoint. So if I create another one, it's still going to, for example, let's just do that. I'll go over here and I'll store another one. And let's see, we'll zoom in over here. Now let's go a little further. And we'll store another one. Now you can see now I have 4. So I have 3, 4. However, over here on the left, the last one is still on 2. So if I choose slave here, it's going to slave to the last one, which is 2. And if I zoom in, you can see that's my tank. So now that I'll take slave off, and I'm back to manual tracking, I can shoot a missile. And as long as I'm not lasing it yet, but that missile will fly in such a direction that I can laze it. As long as I laze anything that was within the constraints, within the last 8 seconds of the missile's flight, it should be able to hit it. So we'll just maintain that laze. 3, 2, 1, shack. T-55 destroyed. So if you're going to use the lock-on after launch, you have to be able to switch between these. And let's see. Yeah, right now I can choose that, or I can choose fixed. But the lock-on after launch, even though you don't see it, is still set to the last one that was selected. And selected where? Over here. Coordinates. Remember to select that. So if I want 3, I'll select that. That switches to that. If I want to slave it, that's going to go to 3. And now I can go back to fixed. I can. 3 is still selected though. Now let's go back here. I'm sorry. Let's go back here. I said that wrong. I will slave it. We'll unslave it. Now I can just, now you'll notice that my missile is not in constraints. That means if I shoot, there's no way it's going to hit that tank. That's because over here on the TSD, I have waypoint 3 selected. So if I want to bring that missile in constraints, I need to change my heading so that it's pointed at waypoint 3. That looks like about what, maybe 10 degrees? So we'll just give George a command to turn right, oh I don't know, 10 degrees. And we'll see if that
right.
brings it in to constraints. And it did. So now I can go ahead and fire the missile. And again, depending on the distance, I don't have to laser it right away. You see I get a time of flight. I'm going to wait till I got about 10 seconds left in the time of flight, and I'll laser it. Well, now it's telling me to laser it, so I'm going to go ahead. So 8 seconds is not always a fixed period. There you go. Another tank destroyed. So that's how that pretty much works. If you're now, one thing I didn't talk about. Let's do that. We're going to switch back to direct. Let's say I've got a group of tanks sitting out there, which I do. And let's say I want to shoot a couple of missiles, and I don't want to wait until this one's destroyed before I launch a missile at this one. Let's see. We're not in constraints, so we have to get into constraints. You drag the box. If it's to the left, pull it to the right. And vice versa. Right, pull left. So we're going to go ahead and go get it about in the middle. Anything in this, as long as it's in constraints, I can shoot at all of these tanks and just switch between them. So we're going to start over here. Tell you what, let's switch back to FLIR. And we're going to go ahead and launch a missile. And I'm going to shoot 3 missiles and count about 10 seconds between them. Lasing now. Missile 2 away. Count another 10 seconds. And I'm going to keep lasing this one until it hits. And missile 3 away. Boom. Alright. I'm going to keep lasing. I'm just changing it. I could have stopped and just relaced. But missile 2 should now track this target. And it did. And I can move over here. So for multiple targets, if you're going to self-designate, you don't really need to use lock-on after launch. But if you want the higher trajectories, or you want to hand off a missile, then you need to use the lock-on after launch. That is all.